listener production.
Hey, Chris Spear with you. Welcome to The Briefing. There's a good chance on a recent scroll of TikTok you've come across a talking tomato or a eucalyptus leaf giving you cheeky health hacks. And while these AI-generated objects might be giving us what seems to be harmless advice, their true impact might be more sinister.
They are flooding our attention span. So what you're seeing with these AI-generated ads is the shift from a central organisation doing it to different people operating thousands of different AIs and sending out this misinformation, disinformation and half-truths.
That chat with Dr Karl is coming up in the second half of this episode. First, though, let's get into the headlines with Sacha Barbour Gatt. It's Wednesday, the 4th of February.
G'day, Chris. Australia's major banks have started hiking their interest rates after yesterday's Reserve Bank decision to increase the official cash rate. It is the first time in 2 years the RBA has made the call to increase, going up by 25 basis points to 3.85%. So to give you an idea of what that might look like for the average household with a mortgage, Sydney borrowers will likely see repayments go up about $156 if they have an average mortgage. It'll be $129 for households in Brisbane, $121 in Perth, $115 in Adelaide, $109 in Canberra, $107.20 in Melbourne, $88 in Hobart and $73 in Darwin. So definitely not amounts to sneeze at all. And so far we know the Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, NAB and ANZ have moved on lifting their interest rates, Chris.
Yeah, it wasn't news that any Australian mortgage holder wanted to hear, something acknowledged by Treasurer Jim Chalmers during question time yesterday. The first question time of the year, actually.
Now, this will be difficult news for millions of Australians with a mortgage, and we understand the pressure that this puts on Australian families and businesses.
It was also an opportunity, as you can hear there, for the opposition to dust off some of the negative attention it's been copying so far this year and turn the heat onto the government.
As mortgage holders are hit with their 13th interest rate rise under Labor, will you now finally take responsibility?
That's Shadow Treasurer Ted O'Brien speaking there.
Yeah, so what is to blame for bringing to an end what was the shortest rate cutting cycle in the RBA's history? Well, a surprising rise in inflation at the end of last year has been at least one contributor. That figure lifted to 3.8% in December. But it does go much deeper than that, though. And if you would like to understand it a bit further, we did an explainer on interest rates and inflation in Monday's deep dive. We'll pop a link in the show notes for you.
Overseas now, where Prince Edward has become the first senior royal to publicly comment on the latest release of Epstein files involving his older brother Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Here's what the Duke of Edinburgh had to say when asked about it at the World Government Summit in Dubai.
I think it's all really important always to remember the victims. And who are the victims in all this? A lot of victims in this.
Now, his comments come after millions of documents were released by the US Justice Department last week, and as public pressure mounts on Andrew to give evidence in the US, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is among those calling for the former prince to testify in the congressional investigation over his friendship and dealings with the disgraced financier. And a reminder, this is the same investigation that Bill and Hillary Clinton yesterday agreed to testify before.
Now, briefly, while we're talking Epstein, US, UK, we do know that former ambassador to the US, the UK's former ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson, he was removed from that role in September last year over his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. In this latest release, more information about their relationship has come out, and there are concerns that he may have leaked sensitive political or government information to Jeffrey Epstein at the time when they were friends. He will now retire from British Parliament, and that is while UK police are investigating whether or not he broke the law with those information exchanges.
Back home now, federal police have charged a Melbourne airport worker who allegedly performed a Nazi salute towards a group of Jewish school kids on Monday. In a statement, the AFP says it's reviewed CCTV footage from the terminal and it's spoken to witnesses before identifying the 23-year-old man and arresting him at his Greenvale home yesterday.
The man has since been charged with giving a Nazi salute by the AFP's National Security Investigations Team, a team that was actually set up in September last year, and they were set up to target groups and individuals that were causing high levels of harm to Australia's social cohesion, including targeted attacks on the Jewish community. The man is set to appear before the Magistrates Court next month.
To Sydney now, where one of the city's biggest Mardi Gras events has been cancelled. CEO Jesse Matheson announcing late yesterday they've been forced to can the $2 million ticketed after-party, citing significant financial losses. The event is usually attended by over 10,000 people and attracts some of the biggest names to perform, with previous headliners including Cher, Kylie Minogue and Dua Lipa.
Mardi Gras organisers say the main headline artist pulled out over the Christmas break and the replacement act dropped out just before the recent long weekend. Tickets to the party cost upwards of $200, something they say they couldn't charge if they didn't have the right talent headlining the event. Fair enough, really.
Yeah. You can't do that for Conrad Sewell or something.
Oh, no, you actually...
Sorry, Conrad.
Sorry, Conrad, indeed. The decision to cancel the after party comes amid rumours of infighting on the Mardi Gras board. And that infighting, Sash, is over issues including trans inclusion in the event.
Yeah, it's quite messy. If you want to look into it, there's quite a few articles that actually detail exactly kind of what happened. But yeah, this has been going on for quite a while. But to give some context, the Mardi Gras after party in Sydney is a huge event and people travel from not only all over Australia but all over the world to come to celebrate, and it is a huge event, and to see this part of the festival cancelled is quite significant. They have promised that they will return in 2027, but we've heard this before from major festivals when they cancel. They go, we'll be back bigger and better. That's their favourite line, bigger and better. I don't know. I'd be putting an asterisk next to that. I don't think I believe it. But the 48th Sydney Mardi Gras Festival will run without the after party from February 13th to March 1st.
And a teenage boy has been hailed a hero after bravely swimming for 4 hours in waters off WA to save his family.
The waves are massive and I have no life jacket on. I just keep swimming. I do breaststroke, I do freestyle, I do survival backstroke. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And then finally I just made it to shore and I hit the bottom of the beach and I just collapsed.
That was 13-year-old Austin Appleby, who was holidaying with his mum and 2 siblings in Quindalup on WA's southern coast when they were pushed out in strong winds on inflatable paddleboards and kayaks.
Yeah, and as you heard there, Austin had to swim 4 Ks back to shore in very challenging conditions before hitting the beach and running 2 Ks to get to the phone to call for help, to raise the alarm. And his family was found 14 kilometres offshore, which is just an insane distance, clinging to a paddleboard. And authorities say it was really lucky they were all wearing life jackets. This all happened on Friday, and Austin has spoken to the media, which is why this is in the headlines at the moment. And, his mum has revealed that she actually said to him, you need to get back to shore because we are in trouble here. And she said it was one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. Interestingly as well, his dad has revealed that Austin had just failed a swimming test.
I don't understand how that happened. I actually don't understand that happened. Multiple kilometres in the ocean is insane. I'm lucky if I could do 400 metres in a normal pool. We're talking a local pool. Doing it in the ocean is wild with the waves and the conditions and stuff. Crazy.
Yeah, and it was windy as well, which is how they got dragged out so far. So also one little tidbit I liked from this story is that he had to show up to school in a wheelchair. So you can imagine, because he was so sore, his body was just wrecked. When you're a kid and you break your arm or whatever and you get to come in the next day and everyone's like, oh my God. Yeah. Imagine being Austin rocking up to school
hero.
in a wheelchair
an icon.
with that story. Oz of the year right there, I reckon. All right, that is it for our headlines today. Next up, we're getting into a deep dive. It's about AI-generated fruit and veg. Stick with me. It's trying to steal our attention spans if you're a scroller on TikTok. If you want to know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. It's up next. Never in my life did I think I'd end up with an anxiety complex about how to store tomatoes correctly because one yelled at me that I was doing it wrong. Let me explain. I'm among the millions of people who have been sucked into the world of AI-generated objects giving me life advice. It started out innocently enough. I was scrolling TikTok one day when I came across a little red onion with a clipboard and this message.
I am Red Onion. Watch this magic. I increase iron levels and instantly create new fresh red blood cells.
Cute, I thought, and super helpful. Now I know that my love of red onions in everything is also good for my health. As I got more and more of this content, it started morphing from what seemed to be genuinely helpful.
I am Papaya. I break down this unhealthy food, cleanse your gut, and give your skin a natural glow.
Too bizarre.
I'm brown rice. That bowl is pure starch sugar.
I'm soft.
Shut your mouth. You spike the nutritional air. Eat the whole grain.
To outright misinformation.
I'm a red cabbage and pineapple smoothie. I melt away stubborn belly fat so your waistline shrinks instantly.
These videos are generating millions of views and comments, and with that surge in engagement has come more pages posting the content and more people consuming it. And while it might be a bit of fun, could the advice being dished out actually be harmful? And on top of that, who is behind this content? Why is it being made? And what is it actually doing to our brains? With that in mind, I've invited the one and only Dr Karl Kruszelnicki on to not only confirm or debunk some of these vids, but to also talk about why they're so popular and just how much caution we should heed when watching them. Dr Karl, welcome back to The Briefing. I want to start today by playing you some of these videos and getting you to either confirm or debunk them. So, without further ado, let's get started. This one's about Greek yogurt.
I'm Greek yogurt. That cup is melted candy.
I'm fruity.
Shut your mouth. You are pink sugar slime. I build the muscle.
Okay, so pretty aggressive from Greek yogurt, basically saying to a cup of ordinary sugary yogurt, you're crap and I'm the best. What do you think?
Complicated. So I have a certificate in nutrition, which costs me $20. A word nutritionist is not a protected word, and anybody can call themselves a nutritionist. A dietitian, on the other hand, that is a protected word. You can't call yourself a dietitian if you haven't done the university training. So with regard to yogurt, you've got the situation that 1/3 of the world can break lactose down and get nutrition from it. 2/3 cannot, especially in Asia. But if you turn the milk into yogurt, you can get nutrition out of it. So let's dive into Greek yogurt. There's Greek-style yogurt and Greek regular yogurt. If you just have plain yogurt, which has no sugar added, mate, you're getting everything you want. It's wonderful. It doesn't matter whether it's Greek or not. But if you have Greek, and then they say this in small print, style yogurt, it has chemicals in it to make it have the mouthfeel of regular yogurt, but these chemicals are called stabilizers, and it has the same mouthfeel, but what they do is damage the surface lining of the gut with regard to the microbiota and how they survive. So Greek-style yogurt, avoid. Greek yogurt is fine, or any natural yogurt, not necessarily Greek yogurt. And a bit of sugar doesn't hurt, but too much, of course, is bad. So I count that as like a half or quarter truth.
Let's have a listen to this claim about eucalyptus.
I'm eucalyptus. Put me in boiling water and inhale. I open up your tight, wheezing airways instantly so you can finally take a deep breath.
What do you make of that one?
Each year in Australia, out of a population of about 28 million, about 300 or 400 die from asthma. And overwhelmingly, fit people in their early 20s because they're not getting proper medical treatment for it. And use the word wheezing. If you're wheezing, use eucalyptus oil. Sure, but you need to have a look at the whole person. If it's like a one-off wheeze and you've got an upper respiratory tract infection and you're giving up phlegm, that's one thing. But if you've got long-term asthma and you take the advice to not take the proper asthma medications and instead go for eucalyptus oil, you could be one of those 300 to 400 young Australians that die each year. So that's kind of dangerous advice.
Well, this one was a bit nicer. This is broccoli.
I'm broccoli. Yeah, I make you fart up a storm, but I scrub the shit out of your digestive system. Eat me or stay constipated, I don't care.
Sorry, let me rephrase that because that wasn't nice. Broccoli was actually yelling at us too. So is broccoli going to cure our constipation?
Vegetables have fibre. You got to have fibre, and it's not just stuff that does nothing. And broccoli has fibre, so that's good. So it says it makes you fart a storm, not necessarily. However, it does have some sulphur in it, and you can have more smelly farts. So it doesn't make you fart a storm. What the broccoli does have is a bit of chemical called sinegrin, S-I-N-E-G-R-I-N, and I'm not doing this reductionist thing where I'm saying, don't worry about the whole food, just go for the food that's got this chemical in it. But accidentally, in addition to tasting lovely, it has this chemical that tastes bitter. Now, then it gets tricky. Humans, in their younger years, under about puberty, hate bitter stuff. And we think the evolutionary reason for that is that poisons in the environment in foods are often bitter. But then afterwards, once you get to puberty and beyond, your tastes change and you actually like the bitter taste, and that gives you the anti-cancer properties. We're not doing this reductionist thing where you say eating broccoli will cure cancer. No, it doesn't. But it's part of a balanced diet. And what they've done is they've taken a tiny half-truth, and for some unknown reason, the whole ethos of this AI-generated stuff is to tell you half and quarter truths that could lead you down a bad pathway, whereas if you spent the same amount of time learning some real dietetics, then you'd be able to have a better outcome with your long-term health.
Well, I guess that brings us to the why, right? Why are we seeing these videos not only being created but also being so hungrily snapped up by people, whether they take it as gospel or whether they take it as half-truths or whether they think it's all baloney? What do you think about that? Why are we turning to these AI-generated images for health advice?
It's not so much that we are turning to them, but rather they are flooding our attention span. And they affect our attention. So what you're seeing with these AI-generated ads is the shift from a central organisation doing it to different people operating thousands of different AIs and sending out this misinformation, disinformation and half-truths. Secondly, they're covering huge numbers of people by going into the social media, and they can tailor the ads for each subgroup. Thirdly, because they've deliberately gone into the cartoon mode rather than the human level mimicry, they're kind of evading the detectors that say this is an AI, and you think, oh, it is an AI, but gee, it's entertaining. And then also they are responding to what people say, and the ads are changing over periods of days and time. And this turns into influence as a long-term, low-friction way of influencing people. But then the other question is, why are they trying to influence it? And is it, on one hand, just somebody trying to get lots of clicks, or is it somebody trying to spread a lack of trust of authority in our society, authority being people like, say, medical doctors who say if you have asthma, take it seriously because 300 Australians die of it each year. This is a mystery for me, Dr. Sacha.
Well, yeah, I mean, what would be to benefit from spreading that mistrust? I mean, we've seen, obviously, and this is getting way deeper than AI vegetables, but, Russian interference in our elections and in US elections, and we can see what the purpose is. But what would be the purpose of spreading disinformation through AI-generated objects telling us, that we should inhale eucalyptus?
I don't know, and I'm confused, but there are certain things that you can do. And there's three things. The first thing is to do for yourself an attention audit, and just every hour, just keep an eye on what you've been doing and writing it down, either on your phone or on paper. So next time you start a task, keep a tally of every time your attention slips, whether you wandered off by yourself or whether there was an external distraction. And do it for about a week, every hour, and you'll have a rough idea of how often you tend to drift and a list of the usual culprits. Secondly, reduce distractions. And the easiest way is to add, now this is a weird term, are you familiar with this term, friction, Dr. Sacha?
In this context? I'm not, Dr. Karl.
Yeah, in this context. So, for example, it's really easy with your phone. You just pick up your phone, aim it at your face, and then you're in. Disable the facial and fingerprint recognition. So that way, if you want to use your phone, you've actually got to go, oh, boring, what's the password? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nobody will ever guess that. And one study showed that 90% of your device use, as a phone plus everything else, was started by the user rather than external. So instead of saying, oh, I'll just check my emails or my texts, actually put them in batches. And then 3, train your brain for being able to focus. We're now seeing people coming into the University of California to study English at a university level, and as has been done every year for the last couple of decades, each week in lectures, they have to read 15 to 40 pages. And recent people are finding it, some, unable to concentrate for 15 whole pages. And what they'll do is an AI summary of it and then hand that in. And the lecturer then says, so can you tell me what you wrote? And they can't remember what the AI summary was. They've got no idea. So train for longer bouts of focus. So try a meal where all you're doing is just eating the meal and enjoying it and smelling it. Eat without scrolling. Don't listen to podcasts. Don't watch videos. Just let it be the food and your thoughts. Or if you're going for a walk, don't say, oh, I'll listen to a podcast as well, apart from us, of course. Leave your headphones at home. Just do one thing. Keep the voices out of your ear. And one study showed that a 50-minute walk in nature helped students increase their attention and memory scores by 20%. So there's things you can do. Who are the people who are doing this? Well, they're trying to get our attention, and it turns out one of the top 25 papers referred to more than all the other papers of the 21st century over the last 25 years was a paper in 2017 about attention. And it shows how back in 2017, these 8 Google researchers worked out how to steal our attention and eventually, at least in one way, turn it into money for Google or turn it into vote for this person rather than that person. It is hard to change your focus when it's so easy to fall down the pathway that they've managed to get, which is to grab your attention and steal it and turn it into money or change your opinion.
So interesting, Dr. Karl. Thank you so much for taking us through some of those and either confirming or debunking them, but also reminding us that, our attention spans are important. We need to look after them. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Sacha.
That was Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki speaking with me there. And just a note, we did reach out to one page that is putting out this AI-generated content on Instagram to try and find out who they are and why they're posting this stuff. But at the time of recording, we have not heard back from them, sadly. And that is it for this episode of The Briefing. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sacha Barbour Gatt. I'll see you next time.